Mark Wittelichner also produced a list of native prairie shrubs that he feels that were here before pre-settlement in the prairies in Iowa. So again, this shows the woody plants. Both these papers were written by botanical consultants, Edwin Fries and Bill Watson, and one is on the Cedar Hill Sand Prairie State Preserve in our county, in Black Hawk County, probably less than 10 miles from here. And the other is on Hartman Reserve, which is right here in the Cedar Falls, Waterloo area. And so again, if you look in the literature, you'll find lists of species lists of preserves and parks and wild areas, probably somewhere near your region. When I think about the go-to species list that I would say is just the very minimum that I would use in Iowa, this is what I put together. So I've got a list of probably about 8 grasses, 3 sedges, 5 legumes, and there's probably about 20 to 25 non-legume forbs, and that's what I would recommend as a minimum. I'd like to see 40 to 50 species in the planting. I know it's the more species you include, the more expensive it gets, but we have over 100 species available the seed is commercially available right now, and so there's no reason why we can't plant 40 to 50 species. One of the more interesting references that I found, and I don't know if it's unique to Iowa, it probably isn't, but it's certainly unique in any respect, is this publication that is basically a digitized maps of the original surveyor's notes when they came through Iowa and they were dividing Iowa up into townships and counties, and the surveyors made very detailed notes about the vegetation in the state of Iowa. And Iowa State took all of those old hand-done survey notes and they digitized it and they overlaid it onto county maps. And so if you have a planting site somewhere in Iowa, you can actually go into this publication and figure out historically what was there before settlement. And that's a very interesting thing to find out. So if we let's just go into Black Hawk County and let's just see. Okay, here's Black Hawk County. And basically, here's the whole county map, and where you see these lines are the river systems, and this is mostly timber. All the rest of these townships are all tall grass prairie. So, if you know that you're somewhere in this township, you're 99% guaranteed that tall grass prairie was a native system prior to settlement at your planting site. And so this is real interesting. You can overlay this map onto current road maps, and you can get a better resolution of where the prairie and where the timber areas are. And there are some counties that almost the entire county was in tall grass prairie. So how do we find out what types of soils we have on our planting site? It's very easy. All we need to do is grab the Natural Resources and Conservation Service, used to be formerly the Soil Conservation Service, a soils map, and we can find out that information fairly quickly. Here I have a soil survey of Black Hawk County, Iowa. There's basically a soil survey book for each county in the state of Iowa, and I think the adjacent counties of all the states in the upper Midwest have soil surveys done for their particular counties. So we went out this morning to our project site, the 5-acre planting on campus, and the first thing you do is you find the main county map, which is included in the book, and I know that our planting site is somewhere here in the Cedar Falls southwest quadrant. So all you have to do is find the corresponding map that goes with that quadrant, which I've done here. The nice thing about these maps is they just redid them, so they're somewhat current aerial photos. And so you can use roads and landmarks and buildings to find exactly where your planting site is. And so here's the Unidome, here on the campus of UNI. And the planting site, the 5 acres we went to this morning, is north of the Unidome, and it's right here in this area. So then once you find the exact location of your planting site, all you have to do is just look up the corresponding numbers that are within those areas. And you can see that we have two different soil types that are listed, an 83B and a 4391B. So once you find out those numbers, you just go into the main book, and towards the front of the book, they have an actual detailed map of the soil units. And they're listed from the numbers low to high. So first we'll find the 83B, and second we'll find the 4391B. So I've got it marked here. So the 83B is right there. It's a Kenyan loam, 2 to 5% slope. The thing that you need to really focus in on is the drainage class, and I have it highlighted. And the drainage class for this particular soil is moderately well drained. Okay, so what does that mean? How do we know whether we have mesic soils? What does moderately well drained mean? Well, fortunately, the Natural Resource and Conservation Service came up with a definition of drainage classes. And they range from excessively drained to very poorly drained. And what I have done, next to the drainage class, I put what types of soil moisture that corresponds to when you're talking about mesic, wet mesic, xeric, which is dry, or dry mesic. And so if we find moderately well drained, let's go to the book, and we're moderately well drained, that is a mesic soil. And so we know that we'll need to develop or choose species that are at least adapted to mesic soils.